I'm Nick from Nick's Nerf, and this is the Mega Motostryke. Let's mod it. Alright, so to start with, you want to take off the battery door and then remove the 4 C batteries. And then you'll flip the gun over and remove all the screws from this side. I'm just going to grab a flathead screwdriver and try and tease it open. It doesn't want to come and I don't want to force it, so I'll see what I can do. I mean, it opened. There was only a small explosion. So yeah, they all seem to be the white panels, and this whole back section is a different piece to the red. So it would paint up quite nicely, but I'm not going to do that today. Alright, let's, I guess, start taking everything out. Photos first. I don't know where to start, honestly. Let's start. I'll just try taking things out. Because we're only going to rewire new switches, new battery, so I'll just pick on the switches and the locks too. We want to remove as many as we can. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a second, we'll see. Alright, so I've just removed this gear and then the trigger, and then you can follow this wire to the switch, and then there was just a cover, and this is a, I believe it's a mechanical and electronic lock, so I'm just going to remove all of that. And that's the magazine lock, so you can't rev it when there's no mag in there. Goes up to this, which looks like the jam door lock, which I'm also going to remove. Just needed to tease it off a little bit. There we go. Which reveals the jam door switch. And then you pull this little resistor out, grab your wire cutters, and you can just snip these wires off, because they're not going to be needed anymore. And then we've got to pull the flywheel cage out. Should be as simple as these 4 screws. I'll just try and tease the wire out, just like so, because that screw, don't know how well you can see it in there, that screw there is stripped on mine, which is really annoying, but I shouldn't have to take it out. There's 4 clips as well as the 4 screws holding in the flywheel cage, so they're going to have to be popped out so we can pull the flywheel cage out. Okay. So just pull that up, and that's more resistors and stuff that we're going to have to desolder to get off by the look of that. All of these internals should be fine to stay in really now. We're going to have to carve out a section down here to fit our switch, new switch, and carve the battery tray and rewire that. Shouldn't be too bad. Let's get to it. So the first thing we need to do is desolder these boards and these wires down here. Alright, so in the end, the easiest way to do it was to just basically just heat up the solder and then pop the board off rather than trying to suck it all off. And I just ended up snipping these wires off. And all that wiring, we don't need anymore, because we've got the new wire, the battery connectors are somewhere. New switch. Yeah, let's get to it. I've connected this, so now when I plug in the battery it'll start revving. It should anyway. Yep, there it goes. So what I believe to be happening is that they're both spinning the same way. It's an easy fix. I should have just done this from the start. So you connect them diagonally rather than straight across. Crossed the wires over, you can't really see that, they're not touching, don't let them touch. It works, but it doesn't work, which I know makes no sense whatsoever, but I've got the positive and negative around the wrong way, so it'll shoot backwards but not forwards. So when I wire it up, I'll just have to treat the black wire as the positive and the res wires for the negative. So I nearly got carried away doing the wiring and forgot to carve out the battery tray, so now it's time to do that. Alright, So I haven't taken a lot out because the battery is fairly small. But because of the wires, I am going to have to snip basically the same on the other side. The battery's in and so far so good. It revs. Here we go. So everything's not quite alright. Where I've put this switch here, if you can see in there, when you pull the firing trigger, it hits just on that switch there. So this doesn't get a full stroke, so the dart doesn't go into the flywheels. So I'll adjust that and then I'll show you everything in. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is all the internals back in. Don't forget to put your rail attachment piece back in. Even though this is clipped in, I'm still going to put the screws back in. So don't forget the screws in the flywheel cage. So here it is, all finished. I don't have a battery in it currently, but we'll get to that. I'll put a 2S and a 3S, see what it can do. Alright, so to start with, 2S, standard mega darts. Still 2S. This is a mixture of Accustrike and standard mega darts. These ones are a bit more worn too. Now on 3S, the first shot is Accustrike, the rest are standard. After using it on 3S, I noticed that you can start to smell a slight burning. I'm not sure whether that burn is either dart burn or the motor's dying already. I'm only going to run it on 2S, I think. Alright, if you guys have one of these and have the materials necessary to do it, which really isn't a lot, you just need the battery, the connector, some wire, soldering iron, some solder, and you can make this thing just so much better. Thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. We're nearly at 100. I think we're at 89 at the time of filming this. So subscribe. Don't forget about the special. And we'll see you next time. Bye. I've very dodgily connected a connector. Wow. Great. You get a clap for stating the obvious.